Alright guys, Paul Rossler here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Roadblock End of the Line 2016 pay-per-view, the second Roadblock in 2016, although this one of course is subtitled End of the Line, and of course would be the end of the line for one of these feuds. I imagine a couple more will continue, but yeah, that's kind of a daft name when you're considering that only one feud is ending. I do also want to say, obviously I'm back home, I'm back in Grimsby, this is my living room in Grimsby. I've come home for Christmas. I do want to wish everybody now, all my fans, all my viewers, and all my subscribers, a Merry Christmas. I think I'm going to need a drink very, very quickly. I have just eaten a cookie, so. No wrestling shirt today. That's probably the first video I have not worn a wrestling shirt in probably, like, I'm not going to say a year, but quite a while. But, I'm totally flustered. 1 second. Yeah, sorry. Merry Christmas to everyone. I do just want to say I won't be doing another video before Christmas. Happy New Year to you as well. My next video will probably be the Royal Rumble review, which the Royal Rumble isn't until the 29th of January. I'll be reviewing NXT San Antonio, which will be the day before, so I guess that'll be my next video. Although I'd like to do a predictions and review for Wrestle Kingdom 10, which is of course on January 4th. That show, to me, looks to be one of the greatest pay-per-views of all time. I think the wrestling on that show, I think the Kenny Omega match with Kazuchika Okada should be outstanding. I think the match with Hiroshi Tanahashi and Tetsuya Naito should also be fantastic. Katsuyori Shibata and Hiroki Goto should have a great match. I mean, one of the ones I'm more looking forward to, Hiromu Takahashi, of course, Kamatachi, taking Kushida, should be an unbelievable match too. So it looks to be one hell of a show, and again, I think it will be one of the greatest pay-per-views I've ever watched in my entire life, and damn, the main event with Okada and Omega looks to be something very, very special. But anyway, let's get into this Roadblock show, and you feel like, because I haven't quite been on topic with this Roadblock show, it's probably not that great of a show. In the end, Roadblock surprised me. I thought this was actually quite a decent show. I've definitely taken a different look at it from a lot of other people who definitely show the show as quite disappointing. I think that if you look at it from a certain lens, it's actually quite a decent show. And let's go right to the kickoff matchup. Big Cass versus Rusev. I didn't watch this. I don't watch the pre-show anymore. There's never any reason to. The matches are pointless. They're never any good, really. I think there's some decent pre-show matches, but they're never quite good because they're always there to just start the crowd up and then we move on. So, Big Cass in the end lost to Rusev via count out after he had to check on Enzo and didn't get back in the ring to beat the referee's 10 count. This feud will continue. I don't really want it to, but whatever. I can't rate it because I didn't watch it, but my prediction was Rusev to win, so I guess I get a prediction. I didn't predict the pay-per-view, obviously, but I thought that Rusev would win. Main show opens, and we kick off with the tag team title matchup. The New Day, the new longest reigning tag team champions in history, 483 days, and this was Big E and Kofi, I believe. It was Big E and Kofi against Sheamus and Cesaro. This was a great opener. Great pace to this matchup. Good storytelling. Fantastic near falls. Just Cesaro and Sheamus are so great together. They have such a great chemistry. They have such great momentum. They have some fantastic tag team maneuvers. Cesaro is amazing. WWE totally missed the boat on this guy for so many years now, and he's just a world-class performer who is just never ever going to get his due. He feels to me like an Eddie Guerrero or a Chris Benoit, a guy that never quite got his due until it's too late, really. He's awesome. Sheamus is awesome too, and this was a really, really good matchup. And I really loved the pacing of this matchup. I thought that, based on my notes, this match had such a great pace. It was a hell of an open with Sheamus and Cesaro dominating early. They kicked out of everything, so I thought the near falls in this matchup were so believable. They were so well timed. Sheamus kicking out of, I believe, the SOS from Kofi, which I haven't seen the SOS in a while, so I thought that would be the pin. Cesaro kicking out of the big ending from Big E, also a great spot there. And then the finish. The finish I thought was genius. I thought that Sheamus and Cesaro took control, and then Sheamus went to tie. Oh no, sorry, they didn't. They got caught. and Sheamus went to tag in Cesaro. Cesaro didn't tag in Sheamus. He ran in, took the Trouble in Paradise from Kofi, and as Kofi pins Cesaro, Cesaro isn't the legal man. Sheamus dives in and pins Kofi Kingston 1, 2, 3. We have new Raw tag team champions in Sheamus and Cesaro. The belts have finally been switched after 483 days. Perfect time. The New Day have gotten quite stale, but I think that they did need to beat the Reign. It did make sense for them to go all the way and beat Demolition's reign, especially considering that Demolition are suing the company. So you may as well wipe them from the record books. But really, really good opener. And after the matchup, Sheamus and Cesaro are given the tag belts from the New Day. Well, Sheamus snatches them from the New Day and holds them both up, and Cesaro jumps in the crowd. So in the end, they were united in the matchup, but after it, they both have egos and they showed their egos. But in the end, both men did stand on the stage holding up their titles, and they also both were on Raw Talk, where they really complimented each other quite well. And it's definitely nice to see that they're starting to unite, because they are a really great tag team. They're probably my favourite tag team on the main roster. In the end, I loved this matchup. I really, really did. I thought this was a really, really good matchup. One of the best tag matches I've seen on Raw. I mean, from any of the main roster brands in quite some time. I think my original grade was going to be 3 3/4 stars, but I think the title change, I think the aftermath of the match, I think the timing and everything, I'm going to go 4 stars. It was a great matchup. Such a good pace to the matchup. Please check it out. Really, really good matchup. Really, really enjoyed it. We moved on to a much slower paced matchup. We had the squash match between Braun Strowman. Well, we had the 10-minute time limit matchup. Braun Strowman, Sami Zayn. This was basically a squash match for about 10 minutes. Sami got in a little bit of momentum early, but could never really get Braun Strowman off his feet until the end. Strowman just killed Sami Zayn. Killed him killed him everywhere. Mick Foley eventually came out and was teasing throwing in the towel, and Zayn was, please don't throw in the towel, Mick. And eventually grabbed the towel from Foley and just threw it into the crowd, which I thought was an awesome spot for Sami Zayn. And Strowman was like, the blood of Sami Zayn is going to be on your hands, Foley. Sami Zayn dodged Strowman. He went into the ring post. He went through the barricade. He gave him a haluva kick in the ring, and the time limit expired. Sami Zayn survived Braun Strowman in the end. Sami Zayn was announced as the winner, which I found quite interesting. I wouldn't have announced him as the winner. I would have just said Sami Zayn has survived, the time limit has expired, and that's it. You don't need to say he's won, because he hasn't won. He hasn't pinned Strowman. It looked like he had him on the ropes, literally. He gave him a haluva kick. He was going to give him another one just as time expired. So it looked like Sami Zayn, he has more to prove here, and this feud should continue. And Sami Zayn should go after Braun Strowman one more time and not beat him. I just don't think Strowman should be beat this close to a Royal Rumble, where he can really announce himself on a big pay-per-view and really get a lot of eliminations in that Rumble and be one of the last guys. Maybe the last guy with Sami Zayn who eliminates him and wins, and we get Owens and Zayn at Mania. Please, 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 please. But yeah, I thought this was booked extremely well. The wrestling, I'll give it like 2.5 stars. I thought it was fine wrestling. Booking, built, it's probably like 2 stars in terms of wrestling. 2.5 stars will go though in the end, because I thought this was booked very well. So good start to the show, I think. We moved into the Seth Rollins Chris Jericho matchup. I thought this matchup was pretty good. Giving it 3.5 stars in the end. I genuinely can't remember a lot of what happened. I thought there was some good near falls, good Walls Jericho spots, great counters. Rollins countering. Rollins, Jesus Christ, just is great at his job. Just like Cesaro is, he makes everything. Even when he does botch stuff and he can't quite ever get a couple of people up for the powerbomb, he always does make it work somehow. And then when he has to power the guy up for that powerbomb, it does make him look like such a warrior and a fighter, and that's really, really cool. But there isn't a lot I can remember. There was some good counters and stuff like that, some great chain wrestling, but in the end, it's fairly forgettable match. Like these guys, I think, have had a better match on Raw this year. So, in the end, I'm gonna go 3.25 stars. I think 3.5 is probably too much. 3.25 stars. In the end, Kevin Owens comes out and costs Jericho the win. Jericho had the roll-up win on Rollins, which is I don't like that. The Jericho had Rollins beat, but Jericho goes over to Owens, and then of course goes for the code breaker. Rollins counters, a great counter. Rollins to push the code breaker up and then catch him in the pedigree. Very, very cool counter. Seth Rollins wins, and he is now one down with Chris Jericho. Now he's just got to go through Owens and Triple H. So very good matchup. 3.25 stars. I think is a good rating for it. I'm just a little bit disappointed. I thought this could be one of the best matches on the show, and it wasn't one of the best matches on the show, to be fair. Well, it was, to be fair, but just a little bit disappointing. Fourth match on the show, we had the triple threat match for the Cruiserweight title. Brian Kendrick, Rich Swann, and TJ Perkins. Talk about disappointment. These three men, the Cruiserweight division has been so tepid, and I can't think of a truly great Cruiserweight matchup since, the division was introduced. I thought that Rich Swann and Brian Kendrick had some good matches in 205 Live. And I thought the match with Perkins and Kendrick at Clash of Champions was very good, but nothing the level of the Cruiserweight Classic. And I watched this matchup and I was thinking, Rich Swann had a match with TJ Perkins in the Cruiserweight Classic, and it was one of my favourite matches of the tournament. So I just very disappointed by this matchup in the end. Nothing is really memorable. I felt that, my notes for this matchup are actually quite saddening when I read them. Just tepid. No heat, submissions look like shit, and the finish came out of nowhere. Aries was on commentary, Austin Aries from 205 Live, and obviously NXT was on commentary, so that was very, very cool. Replacing Byron Saxton is always good. But the finish, Swann won with a head kick. The both men double super kicked Kendrick, and then Swann gave a head kick, a savate kick to Perkins for the win. So Rich Swann retains. The best part of nearly the best part of the show, to be fair, outside of maybe the tag match, was the segment after, where Adrian Neville returned with a beard, and he came down to the ring, and we thought he was going to challenge Swann maybe to a matchup for the future, but no, he attacked Swann. Neville, I keep saying Adrian, Neville attacked Swann, and Perkins and efficiently turned heel. My notes for this basic simple. After matchup, Neville returned and attacked both Swann and Perkins, turning him heel. This was the best thing on the show by far up to this point, outside of the tag open, I'd say. But I do worry about them adding Neville to this tepid Cruiserweight division. I think Neville can be a breath of fresh air in this division, but it's not like the workers in the division are bad, it's just they're not being given the opportunity to really shine. And Neville is a great worker. I do think he's a really, really good worker. He's had some really, really good matches in NXT, but I just don't want them to kill Neville. And then I thought to myself, oh my god, when Aries gets added to this division, I don't want them to kill Aries either. So, a little bit worried about both men, but Neville returning was the second best thing on the show, in my opinion. The heel turn was shocking. Everybody was stunned by it. And, he did. He was a fantastic heel here. Really, really liked him. He was vicious. He was intense. And he looked like a heel. It was great. He had he had a new beard, which I thought was cool. But in the end, the matchup, 2.25 stars ago, it was fine. Just, these men can do so much better. And it's not even their fault, which really hurts. We moved into the promo package for the Sasha Charlotte matchup. I thought this was actually also one of the best things on the show. The feud, to me, it's lasted too long, and they've swapped the belt too many times, but they've had a good feud, and this promo package really highlighted that. And then, of course, we move into the 30-minute Iron Woman matchup between Sasha Banks and Charlotte for the Raw Women's Championship. I thought this matchup was very, very good. I thought the first 10 minutes were jarring because Sasha would be playing a heel to me. I thought she was playing a heel. Charlotte was in peril a lot. Sasha would get the heat on Charlotte and then do a comeback to Charlotte, which is just daft psychology. It didn't quite work for those first 10 minutes. It didn't quite grip me. The first pinfall came with, I believe, Charlotte. She hit natural selection on Sasha. Sasha kicked out. She then hit a middle rope natural selection, which I thought was actually quite a nice callback to the NXT TakeOver Our Evolution match the two had, where she beat Sasha with the middle rope natural selection. So good stuff there. Sasha then would get the second fall with a kind of crappy roll-up. It was a really bad roll-up, but anyway, it gave Sasha the fall back, which I thought was nice. Third fall, Sasha got again. She made Charlotte tap out to the bank statement after Charlotte missed a moonsault. Good little spot there. I did like that. Fourth fall, so this would make it 2 apiece. Sasha taps to the figure eight a couple of seconds before the end of the matchup. Now, I've always felt like in an Iron Man matchup, you don't have the babyface leading into the final few minutes. You just don't. It's just typical wrestling. It makes sense for the heel to be winning into those couple of minutes, and then the babyface fights back. If you're going to have the heel win, just have them win in normal time. And have the babyface have to fight and get those points back. Look at the fantastic Iron Man match between Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar on SmackDown. Brock Lesnar was winning, and Angle had to fight and nearly tie with Lesnar, but he couldn't in the end. And that's one of the best Iron Man matches of all time. So these women didn't quite get the psychology right to me. Charlotte would take that fourth fall and we would go into overtime. Now, the overtime segment was excellent. It was 5 minutes long and it was the best wrestling, the best storytelling, the best thing I think these women have done in this whole feud. And it's great to end the feud on the best thing you've done. But it was 5 minutes, and those 5 minutes were better than anything else in the match. They were better than anything on the show. And they were awesome. They had great pacing. There was great storytelling. There was selling there. There was everything. Sasha got busted open. She played into the bad knee, the knee which Charlotte had destroyed with the figure eight towards the end of the matchup. She had Sasha in that for nearly 2 minutes. It was great. And in the end, Charlotte locks her in the... Sasha does the backstabber into the bank statement, but injures the knee. And she goes for the bank statement, and Charlotte somehow counters that into the figure eight. Bridges. Sasha has to tap out again. 3-2. Charlotte is the Iron Woman at Roadblock. End of the line. And to end the feud, Charlotte is a four-time... She holds up the four fingers, not for the horsewoman, but to be a four-time women's champion. Now, I hate the swapping of the belt again. I hate hot potato for the belt. I think it shows how much both women want the belt, but short reigns do nothing for either women, I don't think. I think that short reign doesn't do much for the belt. It shows both women want the belt, but it just gives them pointless title reigns. It's not the worst thing in the world to keep hot potato in the belt, but it's not the best. Now, in terms of rating this, it was hard because I loved the end of the last 10 minutes, counting overtime, were awesome. The first 10 minutes, quite sloppy. Not sloppy, just kind of silly. So in the end, I was going to go 4 stars, but I couldn't. So I went 3 3/4. This was probably the second or third best match on the show. I thought these women really had a really good matchup, and the overtime segment is awesome. So Charlotte wins the belt. She's the new Raw Women's Champion. I imagine we're going towards Charlotte and Bayley for a Rumble, and probably Charlotte Bayley at Mania maybe. So if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. But I definitely would have had Sasha retain here. Charlotte though, which is one thing I do like because it makes it feel like a sporting event. They play up Sasha's stats. I mean Charlotte's stats. She is 17-2 on pay-per-views in her first 2 years in WWE, stuff like that. She is unbeaten in singles matches on pay-per-view, stuff like that. It's great. It's great for them to do that. So yeah, 3 3/4 stars. Very good matchup. An amazing segment in overtime. The best overtime I've ever seen in an Iron Man match, and I've seen a couple. So great stuff. Great stuff in that overtime. But the matchup was obviously very good. And now I move on to the main event of the show: Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns for the WWE Universal Championship. I thought this was very good, and I'm actually one of the only ones who thought this was a really good matchup. I thought it had great pacing. I thought the 23 minutes they had worked. I thought it was slow at the beginning, and it built. And I thought the frog splash through the announce table, they did it once, the table didn't break. Owens did it again. It did break, which was great. Reigns was awesome in this matchup. I really liked him. You people can complain about the guy. He's a really good worker. He doesn't need to be carried anymore, which this match showed that to me. I thought he was on par with Owens in this matchup. Just a really good matchup. Great back and forth. Good near falls. Great pop-up powerbomb near fall, which I really liked. And basically my notes for this one. This was a great matchup. Slow at the beginning with really great build. Owens was an awesome verbal heel, mocking Reigns for not putting his belt on the line. Frog Splash through the announce table was a great spot. Fantastic near falls towards the end off the pump powerbomb. Really like that. The finish with Jericho coming out and code breakering Kevin Owens and getting him DQ'd was shocking to me. And originally I was like, oh, they're splitting them up. Jericho as a heel is amazing. So firstly, I was like, damn, I don't want him to be a babyface and go after Owens. So Jericho comes out, code breakers Owens, and you're thinking, oh, there's no more Jericho, and Jericho's going to be a face. You're also thinking, oh, DQ in a world title match on pay-per-view does suck. But then Jericho hands Owens the belt and smiles and picks him up and holds up his arm, and it's a plan all along. And I thought, oh my god, that was genius. That was genuinely quite genius. But there's still a part of me which says it's a world title match on pay-per-view. I wish they hadn't done it. But I do think Jericho and Owens staying together is great. And I think that Jericho staying as a heel is obviously great. After the matchup, Rollins came out and they put Jericho through one announce table and then they put Owens through the obviously the English announce table, the one that Saxton and Graves and Cole sit at. And that ends the show with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins standing tall, the Shield reunited again. And that was Roadblock. I'm going to give that main event 3 3/4 stars. Really, really good matchup. Probably, I love the overtime segment in the women's match, so I might have to give the edge to that one. But probably, third best match on the show. The tag opener was obviously awesome. But I think in the end, Roadblock in my final rating, I'm going to have to give it a 7 out of 10. I thought this was a good show. The opener was great and had a great pace and had a big title change. The Sami Zayn match was booked excellently well, and you can definitely see there's an obvious direction to go there. And that's one of my biggest positives from the show. There's direction. The main event, to me, it seems like we could go with a 4-way at the Rumble between Owens, Jericho, Rollins, and Owens for the belt. And Rollins and Reigns for the belt, sorry. What else was there? The cruiserweights were the only thing on the show where I really felt like they were kind of pointless. Obviously, the pre-show match, whatever, but the cruiserweights just, but Neville returning was awesome, and that's one of the good things from the show, and one of the best things on the show. And obviously, the women had a great matchup, really, and then the main event I thought was really, really good, too. So, 7 out of 10, a good show. Roadblock End of the Line I thought was better than SmackDown Live's last pay-per-view, even though the wrestling on that show was probably better overall, but I thought this one was booked better. So, although I thought the booking on Smack TLC was pretty good, to be fair. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Raw Russell. Like, comment, and subscribe for more. Tell me your thoughts on Roadblock End of the Line. What did you think to the main event between Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns? What did you think to Chris Jericho outsmarting all of us, I suppose? What did you think to the Women's Iron Woman match? What did you think to Charlotte winning the belt back? And what do you think to the tepid Cruiserweight division, as well as the return of Neville and Austin Aries' debut? Thanks for watching, guys. This has been Raw Russell.